And now, not so live from Baltimore, Maryland, the Steve L. Greenfield.
I thought I'd begin this evening by talking about pet peeves. There's always some type of minor annoyance that doesn't always affect others like they do us. For me, my most severe pet peeve is hair on the soap. Nothing annoys me more than to deal with that little curly hair or hairs looking at me when I'm about to shower. I'm afraid to even touch it. I mean, was it an underarm hair? A leg hair? A crotch hair? I'm trying to hold the bar up under the water to wash it off, but sometimes it doesn't even move. And when it does move, it just relocates itself to the other side of the soap. And it could even be my own hair. I won't touch it. I won't take my nail to remove it. I won't touch any part of my body with it. Needless to say, I shower once a week. Maybe I should just switch to body wash. Hey, have you ever used the soap all the way down to nothing? That's how much of a cheapskate I am. Sometimes the shit breaks in half, at which I have to decide which piece I'm going to clean up with. Speaking of hygiene, how many guys here go into a public restroom and actually can't piss if someone is at the urinal next to them? It's like your bladder and junk do not communicate. They both get stage fright. There's another man here, and I don't want to make any mistakes while I'm whizzing. Then they leave and everything flows nicely. See, but all that changes if you're drinking and half in the tank, the shyness goes away. Then you don't give a shit. Walk in there and just piss like a pro. Hell, you even have some fun with it. Act like you're racing the guy next to you to blow up the circus balloon for a prize. Of course, guys, you know you can't push too hard because that piss will backlash on you. Ricochet right off the fucking porcelain and onto your clothes. I still haven't found that area of the urinal to piss and keep it off. And have you ever stood there at the urinal doing your drizzle and you end up fucking farting because you can't hold it back and piss at the same time? And someone just happens to be walking behind you as you do it. I've actually laughed out loud a few times. I was at the movies once, in the bathroom, and I ripped one out while this guy walked behind me. And then this black dude in one of the stalls went, "Damn, man, that sounded like a duck!" The bathroom started laughing. And I can't see that kind of fun happening in the women's bathroom. Or maybe it does. Ladies, you'd have to tell me.
Being obsessive compulsive sucks. Like when I have sex with my wife, fucking shit falls off the headboard from the bed shaking. This completely grabs my attention, and I lose my rhythm, so I eventually go soft. This is bullshit. You ever get a girl strand of hair in your ass? Happens to me more often lately. I'm in the shower, cleaning my crack hole. Next thing I know, I'm dragging this long strand out that tickles my asshole. Probably the closest feeling I'll ever experience to what it's like to be gay.
I'm just one of those smart-ass guys. Ask my wife. She'll say, "Guess who I saw today, hun?" And my response is, "Everybody you looked at." Or she'll say, "How do you spell pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis?" And I say, with letters? My favorite is, "You know what? No matter who says it to me, I respond, never met him. Who the hell's what?" If I wasn't a smart-ass, I'd be a redneck. Sorry, with how the world is changing, the rednecks are up in arms about that stereotype. They now want to be called BCSAs, or blue-collar suburban American.
That's right, laugh a Stewie.
I also do Cleveland from Family Guy.
Oh, Peter, you what the Spaniards call El Terrible.
So I have these friends who send me emails that have just random knowledge, useless tidbits of information, like you can't sneeze and keep your eyes open at the same time. Well, I used to sit around at home trying that shit. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't do it. You cannot sneeze and keep your eyes open. One day I'm at the doctor's office for a physical. True story. I feel a sneeze coming on and decide to use my fingers to keep my eyes open this time. So I sneeze. And this old lady sitting across from me laid me upside the fucking head with her umbrella and called me a moron. Just glad she didn't stick it up my ass and open it. I had to change the reason for my doctor's appointment. I got epididymitis from my blow-up doll, Lupe. I love her, though. I'm into inflatable women. What's so special about her is she not only comes, but she smokes a cigarette when we're done. Random cartoon characters have to say about sex. I never did it with a Mexican chick. Giggity, giggity. Olay. Okay, children, that's enough tomfoolery for this evening. It's time to bob for stupid apples. Drugs are bad. Okay. And alcohol? Well, alcohol's bad. Okay. And sex? Sex is good. Okay. You can have sex. Yeah, sex. Sex with a blow-up doll. Sex is fun. Me, Cornholio. I need DP for my bunghole. Settle down, Beavis, before I kick your ass again. Hey, Scoop, check out that crazy blow-up doll. It looks like Daphne. The Price is Right. What a great game show. I've watched it since I was a kid, back when Bob Barker had dark hair. Ever notice someone in Contestants Row bids, say, $1,100, and the Yahoo next to him bids $1,101? Okay, you've just shattered this person's dream of getting up to play a pricing game, and the victim knows it. They smile and shrug like, you got me. And inside they want to fuck this person up. That's why I want to be on the show. Put me in Contestants Row. If someone did that shit to me, I'd punch him out. Then they can come on down to the fucking floor.
You heard about the new deodorant called Umpire? It's for foul balls.
A few years ago, I dropped my car off at Pep Boys in Dundalk for some work and had to walk home, which wasn't far. On my way, I passed by some bushes next to the sidewalk with what looked like a body stashed inside and wrapped up like a mummy in like a comforter. The feet were sticking out, and I stopped to investigate. I started calling to it, no answer. I started touching the feet and feeling up the toes to make sure it really is a person inside. No movement. I'm thinking, holy shit, I just found a dead body. So I called 911, and while I'm on the phone with the operator, I hear, "I'm not dead! I'm not dead!" inside the mummy. The top pulls down, and this homeless guy's little head pops out. Upon further looking in, I see a half-drunk bottle of Ripple next to him. So I tell the 911 operator, never mind, it's a homeless guy. She laughed and said, well, we'll still send out a car. And I was like, well, I won't be here. I was excited, though, because I thought I found a dead body. I thought I was going to be on the news. By George, what's the world coming to? You just solved the crime, though. All the years I trained to be a cop, all I had to do is point my fingers at the bushes and say, the dead body is in there. You don't have to shout them right here. Now, what do you think, George? Want to dump your body? Dump in the goddamn trash bag. How many people ever faithfully watched a TV show until it reached the end of its run and there was no real closure to the character? Don't you hate that shit? Like Gilligan's Island. The last show was like any other because they thought it was signed for another year. At least they did the reunion movies to wrap the story up. But some shows end and you're like, that's it? What the fuck? This would probably be most of the shows on NBC. Although my wife likes Ghost Whisperer, and that got yanked right at the end, so there was no real wrap-up to the story. And that's as bad as these pointless remakes and sequels, and don't even get me started on that shit. Well, you've been a great crowd. Thanks for coming out. I want to wrap up with one of my favorite jokes. A man walks into a bar, and there's a bowl full of $100 bills on the counter. He says, bartender, what's this bowl full of $100 bills for? He says, we have to complete a challenge. He says, okay. What's the challenge? He says, well, there's 3 of them. The first one is, you see that big, stocky motherfucker at the end of the bar drinking by himself? Yeah. You have to go down there and knock him cold out on the floor. Okay. The guy says, what's the second challenge? He says, well, you see back in the corner there in the dark, there's a little old lady at a table by herself having a drink. She hasn't had an orgasm in 40 years. If you can bring her to an orgasm, that's your second challenge. Okay. What's the third challenge, bartender? Bartender says, out in our backyard we got a Doberman, mean as hell, with a bad tooth. If you go out there and can pull his tooth, that's your third challenge. You get the bowl full of $100 bills. You have to ante up, though. Guy says, well, that's kind of sordid. I don't think I can do any of that, really. He says, well, I'll take a drink in the meantime, Bartender sets him up. Guy's been there for a while. He's had a couple of drinks. Starts thinking about the challenges, slaps his $100 into the bowl, walks up to the gentleman at the end of the bar, taps him on the shoulder, and says, excuse me, sir. Bam! Punches him clear out. The guy hits the floor. Then he runs out into the yard, and he's after the Doberman. People in the bar are just listening out through the doorway, and the guy's writhing in pain and screaming, and the dog is barking, and, and then the dog is whining, and the guy's screaming, and there's all kind of a ruckus. And then the guy comes in, and he's all tore up, bleeding, and hair messed up, and he looks around, and he says, okay, where's the old lady with the bad tooth? I'm Steve Greenfield. Have a great night.